After a long winter of training, the day to travel to Inverness in the north of Scotland to attempt the NC500, or Hell of the North, had finally arrived. The foolhardy group attempting to complete the NC500 over 6 days had arranged to meet at the Holy Mackerel Cafe at 6:30 on the 3rd of May. After a few strong coffees, the team leader, Liam Hanlon, gave a team brief on the coming trip up north, emphasising the need to stick to the plans and agreed start times to ensure a smooth trip.
Of Chris to bring the event together, with support from a lot of other people, and thanks as well to Jess for opening up the cafe.
With all the bikes and equipment safely loaded onto the 3 vans, it was time to set off.
Good to go.
With 3 planned stops on the drive up to Inverness, luckily everything ran smoothly, and the team arrived at Inverness Youth Hostel in good time to unpack and enjoy a last meal before the big day. After a fitful sleep, the team gathered for breakfast. A rare steak is a good breakfast for what lies ahead. With the excitement building and some trepidation, the team assembled at Inverness Castle for the grand depart. The chosen route for the epic adventure would see the teams riding alongside Loch Ness towards Foyers and the first climb of the day. This was an ideal time for all the riders to become acquainted, as it was the first time the whole group had ridden together. After the exertions of the first climb, the team rolled into Fort Augustus for lunch at the Quayside restaurant, but not before Andy decided to show a stag how rutting is really done. After a relaxed lunch, it was back onto the bikes to ride down Loch Oich before the long slog up the road to Skye, passing through Glengarry and Glen Morriston. After reaching Glen Shiel, the team regrouped for a photo op for one of the trip sponsors, Glen Affric Brewery, as Glen Affric was just over the hill from the battlefield. Then it was a run down the hill for a few miles before they arrived at Rattigan Youth Hostel. After reaching the youth hostel, a few people decided to ease their aching limbs by taking a dip in the cool waters of the loch, some with noticeably less enthusiasm than others. After some refueling, Stu provided some entertainment while the team were rehydrating, which helped with team building.
Morning. Not a bad night's kip. As well as we do anyway. It's quite early now. Just gonna have a nice cup of coffee.
After getting some rest, the team, who had had to split up for the night due to lack of room at the youth hostel, with one member camping and some staying at a unique bunkhouse on Skye, they reassembled early at Rattigan for what was the first major test of the trip, the ride over Bealach na Bar to Applecross and then up the coast to Torrieden, a ride of 90 miles with a total climb of 8,700 feet.
Let's go! Woo-hoo! Oh yeah! Travel.
The ride saw the team rolling around a flat calm Loch Dyche, then taking the high road towards Durness, which was the first test of the legs, and gave fantastic views of Castle Island Donan, which featured in the movie Highlander.
I thought you gone rogue then, Kev.
Come on, pass us, go on.
Pass it.
Yeah, go on,
Oh, do you want me to leave it?
After rejoining the main road, it was on to Kyle of Lochalsh for a brief stop before heading to Strathcarron to regroup, before heading to the major test of the day, the 2,030-foot Bealach na Bar.
Nice. Nice one, Kev.
As the riders neared the turn for Bealach na Bar, the nervous energy was starting to rise, as all that could be seen was the mountain disappearing into the low, foreboding clouds in the far distance. At the turning for Applecross, the team gathered for the obligatory photos and deciding on the best way to tackle the daunting climb, before offering a blessing to the cycling gods for a safe journey.
Well, this is your idea, lead us off.
Go on.
Lead us into the back, the bar! To the castle!
Into the valley of the death.
As the road started the steady climb, the team naturally split into groups, with the stronger riders disappearing into the clouds and mists, while others set a steady cadence to preserve energy for the main climb, 5 miles further up the road.
Go on, mate, come on. Take it wide.
The man says, look, so Lordy, my bottom's on fire.
Go, go, go.
As the last riders neared the top, the visibility dropped and care had to be taken due to traffic coming down the mountain. But with one last effort, everyone reached the top, to much joy, tears and excitement, and the surreal sounds of Venga Party bus playing in the background. The pain of the climb was soon forgotten. After a quick regrouping in the mists and clouds, it was time for the descent down to Applecross for a well-deserved lunch, after the efforts of Bíleach na Bá Stad, which a couple of the riders had christened it. The 8.9k descent soon erased some of the pain the climb had generated. As they descended out of the clouds, it was like a different day, as the riders were greeted by a warm sun as they rolled into Applecross. After taking on some good food and much-needed fluids and relaxing for a short while, the team set off up the coast towards Shieldag and ultimately Torrieden, enjoying the sun and views out over the Inner Hebrides, before being greeted by the dulcet tones of the support crew at the next pit stop. On the final stretch towards Torrieden would see the first puncture of the trip, as Des hit a pothole on a downhill section, which he was unable to fix on the road. Luckily, due to having run flats, he was able to finish the day.
Cheers, Martin.
After filling their faces with a great chili cooked by the superb support crew and celebrating Colin's birthday, the team had to split up for the night, with some sleeping in tents or the van due to lack of beds in the hostel. Day 3, Torrieden to Ullapool. After a quick breakfast in the hostel, the team would roll out and head up the coast to the first stop of the day at Gairloch Museum on a damp, overcast morning.
Rock and roll, baby.
Katie Hopkins.
Everyone sing happy birthday to Leslie. It's 1970 tomorrow.
The ride would see the team winding their way north following the coast. While the climbing was not as severe as day 2, there would still be 1,500 metres of ascent over 85 miles, with one major climb of around 350 metres at around 60 miles.
There's our beach.
There would be a brief stop at Gruinard Beach for some refreshments before pushing on towards Alap. The last 20 miles heading into Alap would be a struggle due to an unrelenting headwind, but with good teamwork and support from the stronger riders leading the groups, all the riders reached the hostel safely, if somewhat tired. Then, after a quick shower, it was time for some good fish and chips. Day 4, Alap to Durness. The day would see a delay at the start due to a medical issue with one of the riders during breakfast, which would see him being taken to hospital for checks. Thankfully, it would not be a serious issue. This would be a ride of 94 miles, and starting the bike computers, the riders were greeted by the sight of 27 climbs, totalling over 9,500 feet of ascent.
Carl, give us your thoughts.
This is a lovely day. We're having a great day, rolling countryside, beautiful mountains, lovely company. It's all beautiful today.
After winding around the coast through some spectacular scenery, there would be a lunch stop at the famous Lochinvar larder for some award-winning pies. The pies really hit the spot after some testing hills. After lunch, it would be a short detour to see Accommodation Beach, which is recognised as one of the best beaches in the world. But due to time restraints, it wasn't possible for any of the riders to swim as originally planned, but some of the support crew took a well-deserved opportunity to relax. As the team rolled on through the spectacular but unrelenting scenery, the grind up the hills was starting to affect some of the riders' moods as they reached the next stop at the Secret Garden Cafe. But a strong coffee and some cake managed to revive flagging spirits.
Come on, what's your thoughts after all this time?
We've had an amazing day today. It's been great, glorious, feast for the eyes, absolutely brilliant today. Thanks to Kevin for helping me halfway through when I was absolutely destroyed.
I'm just glad you have titty lips away.
Even though it seemed more desolate as they ventured further north, the scale of the landscape was awe-inspiring, and spirits lifted as they rolled into Durness just before darkness. After the hardest day of the trip, the team dismounted at the bunkhouse with aching legs, some tears but with great comradeship, which had been forged over the 9,452 feet of climbs that day.
Sister Donna, not another day ticked off. We're nearly home. It's going to be okay.
After a refueling with a cracking chili, the crew tried to relax with a few beers or a walk to Smoo Caves before trying to get some sleep before an early start the next day. Day 5 would see a really early start, especially for the support crew who prepared a hearty breakfast before the riders embarked on their longest ride yet. This would be a distance of 120 miles to Allnes.
second puncture casualty of the trip.
We're doing pretty well at 350 odd miles.
Yeah.
After an easy start of the day riding around Loch Eribol, it was on to the first climbs of the day which would test the Wirral legs.
Well done. Ian, Donna and Colin, did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
No comment.
Get some air on things.
Oh.
The first stop of the day would be at Tongue. Yet again, we were spoilt by the support crew who had a great spread laid out. It was decided to try and minimise the time at the stops due to the distance that needed to be covered, also to try to keep ahead of a weather front that was due to move south behind the riders. It was decided to ride as one group on the main section south to help keep the speed up. The East German national champion Gale, the Force Stuthridge, soon whipped the riders into shape. Communication was key to keep the train running as one group. The next goal was to reach the pier restaurant in Lairg. The support crew had kept in touch with the pier restaurant on the riders' ETA, which had kept the kitchen open for their arrival. The food and warmth was really appreciated after the 70 miles. The weather front finally caught up with the riders while they were eating, so the last 30 miles would be very wet. Due to the rain, Donna managed to take a tumble in a rain-filled pothole, damaging her bike and spraining her wrist about 15 miles from Alness, so ending her ride. At that evening's team brief, Des would rejoin the group after a few days in hospital, and Liam would thank the support crew.
Roll on tomorrow. When we left the Holy Mackerel, we had a plan, and we knew it was going to change. Boy, did it change a couple of times today. First note to mention, great to see Desmond back with the team.
Very good.
Please, Steve. I know you're about your leg, but can you stand up? And Mr. Ringer, can you stand up? Not yet. Just to say again, just the attention to detail, getting everything right for us, being there when we needed you most with all the food and the drinks, and just that pat on the back before we left for the next leg. Really appreciate it.
Yay!
Day 6, Allnes to Inverness. After a full fried Scottish breakfast, which the support crew could enjoy this time, the final day would see a shorter ride of 39 miles via Culloden Battlefield, then back to Inverness Castle to round off the 500 miles. There was a final puncture of the trip, just prior to crossing the bridge over the Bewley Firth and heading up to Culloden. After a quick look around Culloden, it was time to head back down into Inverness and round off the trip.
Any closing comments?
We are 494 miles in to our NC500 challenge. We just visited the battlefields of Culloden and realised that our battle is almost over. Don't give up till it's over.
When everyone reached Inverness, Liam led the convoy through the streets, somehow carrying a PA system on his bike, so the riders rolled into the sounds of Scottish music playing. On reaching the castle, the pain and suffering of completing the Hell of the North soon melted away, to be replaced with a quiet sense of achievement.
One careless.
The journey forged what was a group of strangers from across the Wirral into a strong group of friends who will go on to complete further adventures.
Thoughts now that's over?
It's been miraculous, isn't it? How many of us? 23, 24
Yeah.
of us right the way around without a touch wood, a single glitch. Just magical.
Yeah. You glad you did it?
I'm over the moon. Are you glad you did it?
Ecstatic. I can't believe it now.
Oh no, when we did our first ride back in November.
Yeah.
No, it has been
Crazy.
magical. I'm not very good at expressing myself at times like this, but I had a little mistiness before, because it's just that feeling of everyone being together,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.